So yeah, let's welcome Mindspheres to the dojo.
Welcome, welcome.
What's up, man?
Hey, yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're our first guest, our first interview. So this will be fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, great.
Yeah. So you're a lead dev on one of our favorite new coins, RAINI coin, and I think what did we stumble upon him?
We kind of got wrapped up in the meme animal coin craze a little bit, and I was kind of doing some whale wallet hunting.
Yep.
And I was seeing a lot of this RAINI stuff, and then when I saw it was Rainicorn, we kind of were like, oh, we have to get in, because Rainicorn, like the character from Adventure Time,
Yep.
which turns out it was not even the inspiration for the name, which is hilarious.
Yeah. And
I watched your first video where you mentioned us, and I think was it the illustrious Taco had something to do with it.
Taco.
Yes.
Yes. Well, so we found you guys. So our friend Sean and Sophie, they found RAINI like right when it was getting announced that night. They called me at 3 or 4 in the morning, and they were like, "Hey, jump into this. The community looks great. You just should get in." And I feel bad because we kind of talked about it on the podcast the next day. We were like, "Hey, yeah, one of these animal shit coins we found. Like, here's another pump and dump we can get into." I think you or somebody DM'd that we were like, no, like we're like a legit company.
We totally just like lumped it in with a bunch of stuff because we're like, man, this would be a great segment. We'll have the 9-ball working. We'll just like, we're just gonna talk about going ape shit. And then we're like, oh wait, whoops, one of these is way more legitimate than
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like one of the cool things about the project, right? Is that we've got like the energy and community of one of the animal meme coins, but there's actually fundamentals behind it. So, and that's I guess that's borne out in our. I mean, so far in our price action, it hasn't been like one of those pump and dump coins which just spikes up and down all the time, and it's not something we're going for. We're trying to create something interesting and legitimate and real. But off the back of that, off the back of our sort of market positioning and branding, we've got a pretty cool community and people having a lot of fun with it as well, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, the community's great, man. I mean, it's been a great job from all the admins to the, you and your partner. It's been a great growth, a healthy growth. I mean, as far as crypto goes, it's been great so far. That's why I'm glad you agreed to come on. We kind of just wanted you to explain a little bit about the inspiration behind the project and what your future goals are with it.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'm not sure if you guys heard the AMA or any of it. Actually, we've done a couple of AMAs now. But
we read the second AMA, yeah.
So look, my background is actually in the tech and fintech space, and we over the last few years, along with my with the partner on this project, Artkin, we built a fintech in Australia, which is a pretty big in its space, and as part of that, we built a platform, and I was in sort of the lead driver of that platform, building it and the adoption around it. And so it's as over the last year or so, we got more and more into crypto, especially into this sort of bull run. We realised that there's a lot in this space that could that's ripe for innovation and doing things a little bit differently. And so, especially being quite interested in the arts, the NFT space just seemed something that was really worth our attention. And so, off the back of that, building an NFT platform and innovating with that was something that really inspired us. And so that's sort of how we came to build this project. And I think the idea of the rainbow unicorn character was born out of a want for doing something a bit more fun than maybe the sort of over corporatized approach that I think a lot of projects seem to be going in. But that's the sort of direction I sort of see a lot of projects nowadays. It's this very sort of slick corporate look where we want to do something that's a little bit more fun, especially considering that it's in the art and creative space.
Right.
And so and I guess as well, trying to make the environment a big part of the equation too, because obviously in the way the mainstream media covers the NFT space, there's always, I don't know about American news, but there's always a comment about the environmental impact.
Yep.
That I guess mining and transaction verification, all that sort of stuff has. And so we wanted to make that a big part of it as well, especially considering the bushfires that happened here in Australia last year and the amount of natural wildlife and natural bushland that was destroyed. And it also is pretty important to a lot of artists we've been speaking to, insofar as they would otherwise not be interested in looking at NFT projects if it weren't for the fact that we were making and sort of addressing the environmental concern head on. So, I just think there's so many things that make it a really interesting project for us, and we're really excited to see where we can take this thing.
I think that speaks a lot to how the space has grown. You mentioned kind of the corporatization. That always gets filled first. Like, you're always going to have the big brands come in and just kind of copy and paste so they can get their money on it. But what we like about you guys, when we talked about kind of the community driven, I love what you said about the NFT space, because even if you do hear a lot of news about the environmental effect, and whether or not it's, a little bit more like kind of media driven versus factual driven, it's like, that's the power of these community projects. Is this important to you guys? Is this important to your artists? Okay, well then let's make that part of the give back. Like, then we're going to be like giving this part of money, and it just gets people more involved. And that's kind of the opposite from the corporate scheme, where it's like, oh no, we can't cut into the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, I think on the environmental front, it's sort of just been something that's been, I guess, pushed to the side or ignored, which I think it's pretty short-sighted, because I think, I guess from two perspectives. One, I think it's important to address, from purely from an ethical perspective, but at the same time, it's also important to address from, if you want to grow the space, there's a number of people you need to get on board, and you need to convince that this is something that's legitimate and something that is actually contributes positively to the world. And if you want to, that's what you need to do if you want to grow the space. And growing the space is important to be able to sustain and to be able to push growth into the future, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I've seen that you guys are going to start doing some stuff with maybe trading cards or NFTs. What are the plans around that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, look, at the basic level, the token is an NFT farming token. So, by staking your RAINI tokens or your RAINI LP tokens, you'll earn points, and with those points, you'll be able to redeem NFTs from various drops that we will run in collaboration with artists. As part of that, there will also be trading cards. And the trading cards, themselves obviously are NFTs too, but they will be able to be used in the trading card game that we're developing. So,
you're actually making a game.
Say again, sorry?
You're actually making an actual trading card game that you can.
That's right.
You can play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
cool.
A good friend of mine is actually an award-winning game developer, and he's agreed to come on board as the lead game dev for the trading card game, and so we're pretty excited about that. We want to do something a bit different. I think there's a few trading card games out there that leverage NFTs. I think Gods Unchained and can't remember the name of the other one. But the idea is about creating more utility value around NFTs themselves. So NFTs are great to look at, but it's cool if you can actually use them for something as well.
Right.
And that sort of, again, helps to grow the space and helps to reinforce value in NFTs. The more utility you can bring to the space, more utility you can bring to NFTs, the bigger the potential pool of people that are going to be interested in the space are.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm just zooming out a little bit on that. I was wondering if that's kind of where you see the total NFT space going. Like kind of where you see it disrupting the most. Is it going to be like in the collectible space, just because maybe that's the best one-to-one comparison right now? Or do you see it more like, like the Mavericks trying to do it for ticketing? So it seems like from your answer right there that you see it as much more utilization-based and not just hey, we got this cool collectible thing that...
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously collectibles and that sort of the scarcity aspect is key to, is sort of the I guess the main parallel with real world items. But I think that there's a lot more that you can expand on with respect to utility, and I think finding different ways of utilizing NFTs, such as in gaming, or there's there's interesting things happening in music as well in terms of using NFTs as a way of ensuring that artists are paid correctly for their music. For example, I think Tune FM has launched or is launching an interesting project with respect to that. But there's definitely a lot more to come, I think, in terms of utility around NFTs, and you know, I think it's, as I said, it's ripe for innovation, and there's a lot of opportunity for fresh ideas to do new and interesting things, and it's just really exciting to be a part of that and be able to innovate and you know, put ideas into practice.
Yeah,
it's exciting. Yeah. So what do you have anything on the roadmap coming up soon-ish as far as the NFT stuff, or what's the timeline on that?
Yeah, sure. So staking should go live by the middle of April, so that gives us about a week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Our refreshed website is half live. We haven't fully announced it yet because responsiveness is still being finalized, but that's cool. And we should have our first artist announcements within 1 week as well.
Nice.
So yeah, some pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome.
And there's other things that are yet to be announced for April. We have a pretty cool spin on NFTs in general that we're going to announce as part of our offering. So yeah,
that's
very
pretty
cool.
Excited.
April's going to be a good month.
Yeah, we're going to be watching. Don't worry.
All around for crypto. Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited for everything you guys have coming out. I mean, like I said, our buddy that showed us you guys, Sean, he's been so excited about the entire project from the beginning. So he's been the biggest supporter, and we're kind of.
And he's quite the artist too. I wonder if you'll see him submitting some stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Him and
Sophie.
Did you say his name was Sean?
Yeah, Sean, and then Sophie has also been active in the community as well.
Oh, right. Is that the Sean who was talking about the 3D rug pools and 4D liquidity pools? Is that the same Sean?
I don't know.
Saw that?
Probably. I would have to ask him. He might.
His name in Telegram is Mothman or something like that.
Okay, so maybe it's not him. No, there's a guy called Sean who was posting about. He had a very sort of tripped out post about how really really complex 3D rug pool that was in effect, which had something to do with 4D liquidity pools, and it became a whole thing on the channel.
Yeah.
I think it's been immortalized in some sort of in a few memes. So
I was gonna say the memes that come out of this is you just get if you want to join the Telegram, you join the Telegram, so you probably get some interesting conversations going on in there.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think that was our Sean, but that's pretty wild.
I'm gonna ask him though.
I want to dig deeper on that.
I think we're talking about including some sort of card in the trading card game, like a 4D rug pull card or a quantum rug pull.
Oh man,
yes.
You got to give that guy an airdrop or something then.
Yeah, like a little tesseract rug, something. Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's, and I think again that's something that that's pretty cool that we can do, is by sort of embracing the meme. I guess the meme community or the memes in general. You can actually there's some really really cool ideas that you can turn into something that's maybe playable in a card game. I think that could be really fun. Keeping things entertaining as opposed to, I guess if you look at a lot of card games are just this sort of traditional fantasy realm. Whereas we want to, we might touch into that, but we also want to keep things topical and entertaining. I think. Including some of the meme concepts in what we do is sort of going to be part of our strategy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think we wanted to get a little bit more of a kind of your take on just crypto in general, and a little bit more like kind of where you first heard about it. If you're working in the fintech space, you probably heard about it quicker than the average bear. But when did you first hear about kind of just cryptocurrency in general, and then when did you actually get involved?
Yeah, sure. So I've been involved in the crypto space on and off for a few years. I wasn't super early. I have a couple of friends who were sort of way back at the start. I think one of them actually he had a couple of servers that he mined Bitcoin on and then threw them away. And I think he had 2,000 Bitcoin or something. This was like back in 2009, 2010 or something.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that early, I think I was around. I was definitely sort of involved in the last bull run, probably more towards the latter part, and I didn't do that well out of that that run. Being involved a bit earlier this time, so that's good. But I sort of have been across the space for a number of years, and I guess over the last year gotten more and more involved. And it's been really cool to see the more widespread adoption and the normalization of the space as well. With all the big institutional money moving in has been really sort of cool to see that it's finally vindicated the the interest that's garnered up until now.
Right. That's kind of what, because we got in around the same time, kind of right as Bitcoin was pumping in 2017. We started really hearing about it, and then of course right when we started funneling our money in, we saw the red 2018. But yeah, I think that's why it's so hard, is we've really only had one go at this, and now it's like these are all legitimate companies, and we just were not in that mindset the first crypto time around. So now it's like
we were just gambling.
I'm in traditional accounting normally, so it's like, wow, it's like both these worlds are actually like, oh, maybe it is a better way to do money.
This is real now. Yeah.
Who would have thought that we were right?
I mean, last bull run, I think my approach was, I'll just buy all these altcoins and hope for the best. And it didn't go too well.
Yep.
I was gonna say, kind of our meme coin that kind of defined our 2017 was probably Ripple.
Yep.
XRP.
Well, and then you bought ETHLend when it was
I bought ETHLend before it was Aave. I got lucky on that one, but everything else is just negative 99.99 type.
Totally. I mean, it was funny because I went and I had a wallet with one of the Australian cryptocurrency exchanges from back then, and I just completely ignored it for a couple of years because it was worthless. And then this bull run, it suddenly came back to life. I'm like, I can actually exit those positions.
It's called investing.
Things that came back to life in there,
That's awesome. Oh, I guess that just made me think. What's the Australian government take? Because we just talk constantly about how the U.S. government and regulations and all kind of the terror that might rain down from above. What's kind of the general temperature over on that side of the globe?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's not too much under too much scrutiny. I think in terms of running things like ICOs, that's not something that the regulator here looks too kindly on.
Yeah.
We didn't run an ICO. Also, the company, because we're so spread across the world, we're actually incorporated in Singapore.
Oh,
okay.
But I think in terms of the regulatory temperature here, it's not as intense as the US could be. I think obviously governments will start to maybe put it under more and more of a spotlight as more and more money goes out of their base currency into crypto, and I think that's the thing that we'll have to watch for. If the American government decides that there's way too much inflow into Bitcoin and the US dollar isn't being used enough. I don't know. Maybe there'll be further regulatory crackdowns. And I think the Europeans could have a similar sort of perspective. It's hard to say. And I mean, we've already heard India sort of looking at what they can do. But I mean, it's very hard to. I think it's very hard to do something that's going to be as a solo actor, because there's so much industry built up around it now. Yep. If they act too hard or too fast, then they're going to potentially cost themselves business. So that's probably the other side to it.
Yeah, we just kind of had to let the momentum speak for itself over the past couple of years. Now it's like, it's funny the way you put that. It was like if they use Bitcoin and stop using the US dollar so much. Not any actual legitimate reason that Bitcoin, like any re-regulation, but yeah, if they don't like the game that's being played, they might do something drastic. But I do think it is kind of too late to.
And I mean, probably the other big concern for most governments is going to be on the tax side. So
right.
I know here, for example, that privacy coins are illegal for that reason. I'm not sure what the status is in the US.
Not to my knowledge, I don't think they are.
Things like Monero cannot be purchased on Binance, for example,
for
that reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Because you know they want to be able to track, you know, they want to be able to do their sort of
know your customer.
Forensic accounting on the blockchain, and if they can't, then they can't tell how much tax you're supposed to pay. So,
Yep. Getting right to it. That's funny.
That makes sense. No, I mean, you got anything else?
Yeah. That's kind of. I did want to ask you. Mindspheres, by the way, is a great name. And coming from, I kind of came from the gamer space last couple of years. I want to know what you think about the whole kind of username anonymity that we kind of see. And the big one that popped out was Meloen purchasing the Beeple NFT.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, we're going to start seeing big headlines of people spending millions and billions of dollars going by just a username. What does that kind of strike your mind as?
I mean, I think it's a pretty cool product of, I guess, crypto and DeFi. In that, you know, you can actually do legitimate, interesting things while maintaining a level of anonymity. I mean, obviously, if someone wanted to identify who these people are, it's probably it just depends on how good their operational security is, whether or not you could actually track them down and all that sort of thing. But I mean, in terms of the idea that now you can have usernames as big players, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's different, and I mean, you know, we're in the future now.
Right. I was gonna say this makes it way more fun.
Life is a video game now.
Exactly.
Like we're all just going from gamer tags, and it's great, man. I love it.
Yeah. And you know, I guess that's what sort of like, I think crypto is interesting in that I think there's a lot of maybe gamification of finance in the space, as in a lot of things that, you know, that the way that a lot of the ways that things work is sort of like gamified finance is the way I see it. You know, it's the sort of even looking at looking at how farming works for a lot of tokens and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of interesting busy work in the space that sort of makes it more more fun for people too. Right. Which is interesting.
Very much so. But I think you actually get momentum that people are acting in their own best interest. Just the fact, you know, some people are anonymous in their first and last names doesn't mean that we can't verify who you are and you're not a trusted person. But the fact that we can kind of break down that. And then also, you said gamification. Everybody playing the game wants the game to go better. The most interesting thing I saw was kind of governance by almost gamification and by tokenomics. But I still think that's the best way. I think that's the best way to do it. If you can actually spread out to people, your customers who believe in your product and who want you to do well, I think that's actually kind of like, it's the simplified best version of the way to do it.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely interesting sort of like a democratization of business, depending on obviously how the project approaches it. But by involving the community and by, you know, through mechanisms like governance tokens, actually giving your user base the ability to have input as to the direction of, you know, of a given token or even, I mean, really what the token represents is a company, right? It's a new way of approaching things, because we're so used to, I guess, in the corporate space, we're so used to having the situations where a few major institutional shareholders will make decisions on behalf of the company, because most small shareholders won't be bothered to fill out the forms required to vote on a given proposal for a company, right? But when you make things easy for people and accessible through through the internet and without needing to fill out lengthy forms and all this sort of business, it's just a lot more accessible, I think, for people, and people are more engaged in the platform or the product at the end of the day. And I think that makes it more powerful, because people who are engaged in what you're doing are going to be your best advocates. Yep.
It's the E-myth. Your first 100 rabid customers are your most powerful marketing tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think, and like you said, I think that this sort of represents where the future will go. I think it's a template for the business world in the future. Yeah.
I cannot wait.
That's pretty exciting, and I think that's part of maybe why, you know, this time I feel like this bull run or this growth in the crypto space is a bit different to the previous times. People keep talking about these 4-year cycles. I don't know if we're going to see it play out quite the same way as we have.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page there. This one feels like it's got to be different. There's no way it can't be. Too many big players are involved this time around.
Static money.
Yeah, and I mean, we might see a top to bottom drop of, who knows. I mean, the thing is, we're not going to. I don't think we'll see like it happened in 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, not that far.
Yeah, the 80%.
I couldn't see that.
Yeah, I don't know if the days of 80% are still around. And I think it's interesting though. We watched a couple YouTubers and they showed the stock to flow model, and yeah, this is the point that we start seeing some serious plateaus, some serious sideways, prolonged action, which we've just never seen before. So it's hard to predict.
Yeah. And, that the sort of, if we see sideways action in Bitcoin for a while, I think that'd actually be good for the space because it will allow a sense of consolidation and, maybe the whole market finding a new floor, and it will give people a bit more confidence in terms of, how things are going to sit moving forward. So, yeah.
I agree. It's exciting.
Cannot wait.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we had. We really appreciate you coming on and talking.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It's been great, guys, and maybe when we have a few more things once we've moved forward a little bit with our project, maybe we can come back and give you guys an update.
That would be amazing. Yeah, month of April seems packed. We'll be keeping everybody abreast for sure.
Thanks so much.
Cool, man. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, man.
See you guys.
All right, see you.
Big thanks to our sponsor over at CryptoCandies.io. Head on over to their website and check out their selection. They're always adding super dope and unique new crypto-themed designs, and we greatly appreciate their support.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Crypto Dojo. If you enjoyed it, be sure to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And feel free to hit us up on Twitter and IG at CryptoDojoPod. We'd love to hear from you.